Welcome to the Character Sheet, comicbook.com's official home for all things tabletop and fantasy. I am Christian Hoffer, and today we have a very special video for you. You may notice that there are a few more people than what are usually on one of these videos, and that's because we are going to be doing a showcase of the new DC20 system, which is being brought to us by the Dungeon Coach, who is the designer and the publisher of this new system, with a Kickstarter to come later this year. I'm also joined by producer Pete, who is, the lifeblood of this channel, and by Eddie Blanton, who's going to be our, I'm trying to think of the best word for it. He's our ringer. He's here to keep us alive.
One of the guys on my team, I'm bringing him in to show him how it's done.
He actually
support you guys.
Yeah. He actually knows what he's doing. The Dungeon Coach. This is tell me a little bit about what DC20 is. Why did you decide to make this new game system? Right. What are its influences?
So first, thanks for having me. This is a super awesome way to showcase it, and what you guys are doing are awesome. So I appreciate it. But this all came from, I've always been a home brewer ever since I started the YouTube channel and started making videos about it, rules about it, supplements about it. I launched an entire 5e expansion for D&D, and that was the big plan to keep going until we all know what happened, the OGL, etc. And all these different people have now created their own TTRPGs. I'm one of those people now, throwing my hat into the ring, and I'm now able to, instead of making and tweaking a system that already exists of 5th edition, because when you do homebrew rules for that, they have to be a certain, in the spirit of the system, they have to fit into the system. But with this now, I can truly try and iterate and do things differently. And as the development of DC20 has continued, all these really, really cool and fun options and opportunities of how to do attacks, how to do action economy, monsters, other stuff has just evolved and turned into DC20 now to be another shot at fantasy RPGs and have a truly epic feel with teamwork, engagement, all that kind of stuff. So you'll see.
So how long have you been working on this system?
Well, probably I would say in the 5-year-ish range, but it's more so been in development when I was doing Alkander's Almanac, which was the 5e expansion. There's certain rules I came up with that were just too outside the box to be considered a 5e rule. So I just set those aside. And that happened over a course of years. I was like, man, this would be cool if you had 4 action points and you could use the action points to do stuff, but that would completely overhaul the system of D&D. I can't use it for that. And then over time, I built this system that I would play test with friends that weren't used to TTRPGs, like my wife and her friends that never played before. I forced them to play with me on my birthday as my birthday request. And I was like, man, this is intuitive. It's simple. It's fun. And then it just started to grow. And it was always a future plan of mine, but the OGL just kind of poured gasoline on that. And I just shifted gears to be all right, well, we're going all in with this. And then we've been hardcore developing it for a year and a half plus, or about probably, really full on year now for sure. And it's fully playable, fully everything now. And we just keep expanding to it, building it out.
Okay, well, let's dive into some of the basic rules. We're going to run through a combat encounter here. What dice am I rolling? What am I doing? What's the action economy like in this game?
So the main thing you need are D20's in DC20. You see what I did there? So mainly we're going to be rolling D20s for all the stuff you're doing, all the checks, all the saves, whatever you're doing. You're going to be rolling mainly D20s. There is certain things having to do with certain class features, certain maneuvers, certain actions you can take where you might roll a D8, a D6, or a D4. But pretty much it's going to be mainly D20s. So handful of D20s because you might roll multiple of them, and then 4, 6, and 8 on your other dice. But that's it. And as far as action economy, like I said a second ago, you have 4 action points is the biggest concept for you guys and the viewers to understand. You have 4 action points. It's going to feel fresh but familiar is kind of my description of it, to where D&D, what do I want to do? I'm going to do this, that, and that. But instead of having things separated by movement that's separated, a bonus action that you can or cannot use, an action that is your entire turn, and then maybe a reaction that's only one thing, it's just you have 4 action points and you can do stuff. You can move. You can attack, move, attack. You can do whatever combination you want. So when you guys are saying what you want to do, just say what you want to do as if you were playing any fantasy tabletop roleplay game you want to do, and we'll help you out, figure out what that's going to look like. But pretty much everything costs an action point to do. The other part of this is if you repeat your actions over and over again. So if you attack, which would be a very lame turn. One of the things in DC20 is stacking disadvantage. So whenever you attack, if you attack again, that next attack is at disadvantage, right? That's across the board for all the other actions that you can do. And the other side of that coin, though, is at any point, if you wanted to, if it means something to your character or tactically in combat, you can spend one of those action points to give yourself advantage on anything that you're doing on your at any point, right? So that might sound like, oh, I can just give advantage any time, but you only have 4 action points. This is your entire turn. And how this also works is if you spend action points, sometimes you can spend them off your turn, which is part of the thing that makes it a little bit more engaging in that way. If you do spend action points off your turn, but when your turn comes around, now you only have 2 action points. So you can kind of spread your turn out around if you want. If you want to protect an ally that's next to you, if you want to do this or that or whatever you're doing. If it comes back to your turn, you might only have 2 action points, which it keeps the game rolling, keeps things smooth, and you can always choose not to take reactions if you don't want to. But that's the big picture of action points. You got 4 of them. And then the last big concept of a rule is attack rolls. You only make 1 attack for it counts for damage as well. So whenever you want to attack something, you don't attack to hit and then see if you hit or not and then roll for damage and see how much the damage is. It's all 1 roll. You roll a D20, and if you hit, awesome, you deal your weapons or spells base damage, and every 5 that you beat the defense by, you deal additional damage on top of that, right? So your roll actually matters. So if you roll really high, sick, awesome, cool. It's how high did you roll? How many by 5s did you beat it by? And you'll deal even more damage, right? Those are the 2 big things. And as far as the classes that you guys are playing, if we want to slide this over here, you guys threw the minis at me, the little tokens here, and we got. I told them you're going to be playing a charisma barbarian and a lightning sorcerer, and this is what you guys came up with. You threw out Emperor Palpatine and Fabio, so that's what we're going to be using now. Let your imagination run wild. But that is the last other little sliver there of DC20 is you can make, there's 4 attributes in the game, and you can make a character, any class, based on any of those attributes as far as that goes. Don't want to get into the minutia of character creation, but let's get right into it. So that's it. Is there any, actually, just so everybody else knows, because you guys have your own character sheets to get them up to speed. Barbarian, classic barbarian, y'all know what's going on there. Run in there. Who cares about defense? All about offense, baby. Smash, smash, of course. And then lightning, sorcerers in general. This case, Peter, I gave Peter a lightning loadout as far as spells go. But sorcerers in general can overload their magics because magic's in their blood, and they can push their magic to the limits and cast spells with even higher like modifiers added to your spell check, but possibly gains levels of exhaustion and kind of push yourself too far. And so we got 2 very reckless characters that I've given you guys to just go crazy. And then I've given Eddie, the cleric, to heal you guys up from you pushing yourselves to the limit, right? So yeah, that's the big picture. Okay, well, let's dive into it. Set the scene. Cool. You guys are monster hunters, and you're going into a sketchy cutthroat. You're in a sketchy cutthroat monster hunters guild, and you've been sent into this cave. You got a contract to kill a Dreadfang Screecher, massive bat-like creature. You've never seen one, but you know kind of what you're looking for. Big bat creature. That's all you need to know. You've tracked it down to this cave, and you are now entering into this cave in the top here. And my only question, you guys starting off, is who's in the front? Who's leading the way? What's y'all's source of light coming into this cave?
Well, I suppose that I, as the barbarian, despite my lack of significant armor, as I am, either I'm probably wearing a billowy shirt.
Beautiful.
I'm
Big
probably
puffy white shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're wearing the Seinfeld puffy shirt.
Lots of chest hair too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. So I'll be in the front. I may or may not be holding a torch because I kind of like my hair and don't want to catch it on fire.
Oh, you just got a full extension of the arm. There you go.
I have a hammer I can cast light on. As
Okay, there we go.
Kind of torch. Yeah.
Oh, so you're backlit. You're backlit.
Yeah, backlit.
So you're leading the way with the cleric with the little his own mace with the light cantrip, lighting it up. There we go. Cool. So. Starting things off down into this cave, you trudge down into the waters of this cave, and as you kind of start splashing through the waters, you start to hear skittering, and you step down. The water bellows out, and part of the ceiling looks like it starts to like separate as these flapping small creatures swoop down, start to attack you. These tiny little screeches kind of combine together, and your ears start to kind of ring a little bit as part of the ceiling and stalagmites from the vibrations start to partially fall. We're starting things off. Instead of a combat showcase in this combat showcase, I'm going to start off with a combat skill challenge. This is a little different, and I want to showcase this because this is also a system in DC20 of skill challenges and expanding it in social skill challenge, exploration skill challenge, and in this case, combat skill challenges for the instance of these times when we've all played TTRPGs and there's just a combat that you don't need to be a full-blown combat and roll for initiative and fight these little muck things that don't really matter. It doesn't tell the story. And you just want a cinematic moment where you can like describe something epic in some way. In this case, you're fighting off a bunch of bats, but it could be a chase scene, a mass combat, defending a city, whatever it is. But this is a combat skill challenge. So the rules on this and how this works, the quick overview is each of you are going to describe what you're doing. In each of you get one check. You're going to make, it could be a skill check, it could be an attack check, a spell check, just to say what you're doing, and we'll figure out the best check that you're set up for it. And you're trying to beat a DC. And if you beat the DC, you get one success point. And if you beat the DC by 5, another success point by another 5, and you can get the picture. A natural 20, of course, adds one more. And if you fail, you take damage. And this is kind of the tax that these little combats usually leading up to bigger combats is one of the goals of game masters is to kind of wear people's resources down a little bit. So if you fail the check, you take 1 damage, and we're going to see what y'all describe, see how the rolls roll out, and then we'll tell the story in the cinematic way of how the heck this thing goes. So, and also if the group fails overall, more damage happens. And if you succeed overall, something cool happens, like a little branch in the story. So, dozens of bats are flying all around you, pieces of rocks falling down. What do you guys do?
I'm going to take my comically large pick that I have. I'm basically going to try to baseball bat one of these bats into a swarm of bats to cause them to scatter.
So you turn the pick sideways into
exactly
fly swatter, a bat swatter, you could say. I love it. All right, so don't make the check yet, but you're going to be making an attack check, just swinging that thing big, nice and wide. What do you do? What are the rest of y'all doing?
I'm going to lure them in by feigning weakness and falling to the ground. The bats are trying to take over. To lure them in. And then when they get behind my back, I'll be charging up a shocking grasp. And then when they get close enough, I'll release it as a giant charge.
Ooh, okay. So this is
my
interesting.
Power, my unlimited power.
So I'm interested in this too, because what kind of check are you wanting this to be? I could see an influence check if you're trying to feign animal, possibly if you want to interact with animals, or you could do a spell check because you're going to unleash your power.
Let's see.
Whichever one of those on your character sheet, it's going to be any of the skills on the side, or your spell check / attack check is a +4, which is probably a pretty good
spell check. Yeah.
Okay,
the others are
good.
negatives. I forget.
Yeah.
I am Palpatine, so I look
release
terrifying.
Your power.
My is terrible. Yeah.
There we go. And what you doing, Eddie?
I'm going to use my awareness because I have tremor sense. I'm a dwarf, and I'm going to try to predict when the stalactites are going to fall to help maneuver people out of the way.
Ooh, okay. Using a tremor sense in the cave ceiling. I love that. That's sick. As a dwarf, I love that. All right, so how this is going to work now is we don't know if y'all are about to fail or succeed, or who of the 3 of y'all are going to fail or succeed. So you're all going to roll, and then we'll see who does well and how many success points that we all get here. So we're starting off with the person doing the performance at the beginning. Peter, give me your frail fall down spell check. What you got for your spell check?
Let's see here. That will be a 10 exactly.
10. Okay. Gotcha. So a 10 is a failure. A 10 is a failure. We'll get to what that looks like here in a second, but the bats weren't buying it, and they start. I'll save the description for when we see what the rest of this looks like, and then I want to see give me the tremor sense, Eddie. What's the tremor sense looking like before we do the baseball bat?
It's going great.
Oh no. Okay.
It's a 7 total. I have +5.
Okay. All right. It's a 7 total.
7 total, yeah.
That is a fail by 5. So we'll get to that in a second here. This is going great here. So right now, Christian, aka Fabio, it's all on you, man. It's all on you. If you roll well enough, you could single-handedly save this. You have 0 successes right now, but if you roll high enough, you could get all 3 in one.
Well, there we go.
Can you show that on the screen? What?
A natural 20.
Natural 20 plus 4.
24.
24. I think he did it, right?
Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Okay. So how this works now is we can collectively tell the story. So I'm going to start saying what I think happens. If y'all want to interject, go ahead. But I see Peter. Oh no, we are getting assaulted. You make this loud noise. All the bats immediately flock to you, and you start getting bit. Ow, 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 before you're able to cast any sorts of lightning. Eddie, your tremor sense, you feel the ground, and as you sense around, a giant stalactite just instantly just falls on your head. You're standing still too much. All the bats, so you're getting hit by the fall of stalactites. Peter's getting bit by all the bats. Christian, your party is under attack by these bats and all of these falling rocks. What do you do to save the day?
I go and instead of using my pick, I'm just going to take the stalactite that has fallen off Eddie's head, pick it up over my head, and just chuck it at the swarm of bats.
They've all collected on Peter. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all like on Peter.
And I just like fling it with such expert. It just slams into all of them. Missing him, his like back and his head by inches while clearing the entire swarm off of him.
Yes. I love it.
According
I love
to
it.
plan.
Yes. As your lightning crackles between your fingers that you never had chance to shoot out in the first place. Beautiful. The rock smashes and the shrapnel gets the rest of the bats. No more bats whatsoever. So just to showcase how that even worked behind the scenes wise is the DC for that was 12. Y'all both failed. So Peter, you take 1 point of damage for failing with that 10. So mark that down. Eddie, you failed by 5. You take 2 points of damage, an additional damage for each 5 that you failed by. And Christian, you got a natural 20. So the DC was 12 and you beat it. So a 17 would have been 2 success points. So 12 is 1, beat that by 5 is another one. And a natural 20 always adds another one, which actually, wait a second. You got a 24.
He got 10 over.
So that would have been that would have been 10 over plus a critical. So you alone got 4 success points to truly save the day. And all you needed was 3 success points. So beautifully done. That is just a little glimpse into what a combat skill challenge is. But now you guys get in here, and with that success as well, you also get an extra little nugget here. In the chaos of this massive boulder you just threw, you hear something deeper in the cave. You hear something over here. I'm pinging it on the map. You see a figure, some sort of figure kind of sneaking around into this little hallway over here. If you zoom back a little bit in this, I'm pinging, but it's not showing up on your, ping everyone? Is that, there we go. That should be, it's not pinging. This little hallway over here. That's weird that it's not showing on your screen.
I see. Yep.
Oh, there we go. I was in the GM layer. There we go. Okay. So from over here, my little purple ping over here, you see a figure kind of walk over here, and you hear some whispering, and you hear some voices coming over from the corner across from you guys. What do y'all do? You can freely move your tokens around, by the way, as far as wherever you're going, and I'll stop you if you guys trigger something.
Obviously, I'm going to walk towards the figure because I have no fear.
And as soon as you exit the water, the voices, hey, shut up. You hear the voices stop.
I'm going to cast Close Wounds on myself to heal that 2 damage I just took.
Okay. Okay.
I'll follow boldly behind the barbarian.
Mark your mana down, spend it. Yeah, you go. Okay. So you get here, Christian, and you see, or Fabio, I'm just going to call you Fabio. So you get here and it's just dark. It's dark in there, even with Eddie kind of come up next to you. The light only gets about here, and you kind of look and you see some bones scattered around, but that's about all you see.
Okay. So there's
I'd like to make a awareness check. How about that?
Go for it. Yeah. Give me an awareness check.
Hopefully I do better this time. 17?
12, 17. Yeah. So no, you hear over here, they hear some like just bones scuffling. You hear like they're kind of like, oh, sorry. I'm sorry, boss. I'm sorry. Like seems like there's two people like talking to each other, one trying to shut the other one up inside of this cubby. You hear about two humanoid people whispering to each other.
It's two sneaky people over there.
I'm going to boldly walk forward, and I'm probably doing like a little peck bounce or something like that. I'm gonna go. If there's somebody there, identify yourselves.
I want you to give me an influence check. You just use charisma barbarian you.
Okay.
I want to use my light to kind of like use guidance to like make them like extra.
Ooh. Okay. So go ahead. So how the help action works in DC20 is it's a D8 added on to your roll. So you're gonna make an influence check. So D20, add your influence, and Eddie's going to roll a D8. Y'all separately roll your rolls and add them together.
I was gonna use Gus to make his hair blow in the wind.
Ooh.
I got a 21 on my roll.
And
okay.
You add a 6 to it.
Yeah.
Wow. And with the extra flavor of the billowing wind, I love it. So with this massive roll here, you walk forward, and out from the shadows comes you see an individual reveal themselves, and they're like, "Dear God, you're beautiful."
I know.
But no, and you see him like shake his head. No. This is our contract. We're here to take this vampire bat. You guys gotta get out of here. No, this is ours. Yeah. Me and the boy. And you see this big, large fellow, this big, orc looking guy kind of come up behind him. Yeah, this is our cave. And you see them kind of square you guys down.
I kind of just go and throw my hair back a little bit. I go,
boss, he's really hot.
There's no need to fight over this contract. We can share in the spoils. You two can serve as a distraction, and I shall simply throw things with my compatriots' help and kill it. Why not that? And then we'll split it 60-40. There are 3 of us, and there are 2 of you, so it is technically an equal split.
Wow. Okay. So just because this is crazy, and I'm trying, and in the middle of this, I just want to respect that massive roll. I'm going to give you one more roll to do an influence check, by yourself influence check, to see if this actually goes a very different way than what I was planning, because I just want to respect the hustle here.
It's only 17, so...
Okay, 17, not too bad. These guys have their contract in store, and we want to showcase some combat here. So they're going to look through the. I would love if this was like just a straight up one shot to just dive down this rabbit hole of where this would go. Like, he's real pretty, but let's start stabbing him. Okay, and they are going to want to throw down against you guys, and we're going to roll for initiative. Okay. So. We're gonna roll for initiative. How initiative works in this wildly also side note, really cool showcase of a charisma barbarian, I guess, to go in there and throw some stuff down. So how initiative works, you're going to in fact, actually, I'm going to throw one more layer here. I'm going to let Christian, I'm going to let your initiative check be an influence check, because I that actually is higher than what your normal check would be, which is an attack roll. So Eddie, go ahead and give me a spell check. And Peter, same with a spell check. Y'all had that whole magic thing going on. In general, in DC20, you make an attack check. That's going to be your initiative check. The difference is all three of you are trying to beat an initiative DC. There's a DC you're trying to beat. If one of you, beat the DC, you guys go first. If you don't, the bad guys go first, right? And your initiative matters for you guys because that sets the order for your team as far as who goes. And then I get to choose my bad guys of when they go, right? So what are y'all's numbers? Who got what?
Two of us got 23s.
Yeah, me and Peter got the same.
Sick.
I only got an 18.
Okay. Gotcha. So you're the one in the front. You're the face of the party right now. You did not beat the initiative DC, but luckily 2 of your teammates did. So, and actually another unique little instance that y'all got here. If you roll initiative and you roll the exact same number, you share your initiative in this case. So showcasing a little unique example here. But Peter and Eddie, both of y'all are going first. You beat the DC. Y'all go first, straight up first, with these 2 guys sitting over here in the corner. So right. What are you guys doing?
I want to cast Bless on my party, so that whatever he's going to do is going to be enhanced. So I'm going to do that right off the bat.
So and also when I go and as a game master, like usually I wouldn't say all the behind the scenes stuff of exactly what I'm doing, but for you guys and the viewers to see kind of some of the gears turning behind the screens, I'm going to say all the times when I use action points and stuff. So Eddie he's going to, of his 4 action points, he's using 2 action points to cast Bless. And spending a mana point to cast Bless. So go ahead and give me a spell check because you actually make spell checks on every spell you cast in DC20. Boom, 6. 10. I think is your spell DC 10 or 15?
It's 10. It's the exact. So
perfect. So instead of just 2, you get 3 targets. So all 3 of y'all are blessed by Eddie. What are you doing with the other 2 action points?
Guidance. Each of these guys.
Ooh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So you guys all have Bless, so that means that D4 that you have, you all have a D4 to be able to add on to every D20 roll that you make, all of them, right? And this support cleric is also giving you guidance, which is the help action like we just showcased earlier. So each of you have a D8 that you can use on your next turn. If you don't use it on your next turn, it is gone. So actually, that's a lie. Eddie, who are you using the help action on? Who are you using help on first?
I'm going to give Peter the first one.
So he get a D8.
Helped. Yeah.
So Peter, you get a D8. And in DC20, like I described, if you repeat the same action over and over, it's stacking disadvantage. But in this case of help, you have a D8, Peter, and Christian, you have a D6 for your help dice, right? So that is Eddie's turn starting us off here. And that is all 4 of his action points used. Peter, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm going to use all 4 of my action points to do a chained lightning bolt. Stand together, die together.
Okay,
targeting the bowman first, I guess.
Gotcha. Now, so real quick with this, so you're doing are you doing the lightning bolt? Okay.
And I'm going to use 3 AP enhancements to do damage enhancement.
Okay.
Range enhancement, which I don't technically need, so I guess it's only 2. And then chain enhancement. So I'm going to use
to get to both. Nice. Yeah. So you can do. So also another thing, as far as how action points work, is if you're pouring all of this into one thing. Another thing, like I said, you can do in DC20 is give yourself advantage to kind of like almost give yourself some insurance since you're pouring all of this.
For my 4th AP. Perfect.
Exactly. So a really perfect example of a one big lightning bolt is action point to cast the lightning bolt in the first place. You're pumping it for 1 +1 damage. Giving yourself advantage on the check and making it chain over to the other target who is wearing metal armor, which is going to matter here in a second. Nice. But before this happens, hold up. You've activated my trap card. Down here in the sides, you see some sort of hooded figure pops out of these mushrooms, and you see lightning crackling in their hands as well. Your lightning crackling in your hands, and they're going to initiate a spell duel against you, showcasing another system here in DC20 of spell duels. So how this works is she is casting, another lightning sorcerer is going to cast lightning against your lightning. As your lightning crackles over and across, her lightning is going to intercept midair. Very Palpatine-esque vibes here, right? So how this is going to work, she is spending her own action points off of her turn to do this, and it's going to be her spell check versus your spell check. Whoever's higher wins. So she might be able to intercept and stop this, but it's all going against your spell check, which you actually already said you're giving yourself advantage on. Yes. So make that spell check. This is a lot's going into this one. So give me that spell check.
Don't forget guidance and the help.
So that's the first one, and then here's with the advantage.
Yeah.
That's better. A 25.
Oh my gosh. What's crazy is she rolled an 18 plus 4 gets her a 22. So that was a really big number to hit. And you poured everything in with the guidance of the light of your cleric on your side, and your lightnings clash midair. And honestly, I want you to describe to me, what does that look like when you beat her in this lightning duel as she's trying to stop you with your lightning midair?
I think my lightning is just more powerful and sort of absorbs hers and sort of makes the stream bigger. And I turn to her and I say, witness the power of a fully armed and operational battle wizard.
Witness. Yes, I love it. So you said that was a 24 total?
25 total.
25 total. So 25 total. That rips across the battlefield. She's, what is this? As this lightning absorbs the lightning, bolting across and over into these guys as their eyes just go wide with this thick stream of lightning hitting into them. So the first guy, he has a physical defense of 10, and you just got 25. Okay, so your base damage of lightning bolt is 2, and this is another great showcase of how damage works in DC20. Your lightning bolt, if you just regularly hit, which this is not a regular hit by any means, would have dealt 2 damage, and then you got 15, 20, 25. So you dealt 5 points of damage to this guy. In one single moment right here, just shocking his whole body, and bounces through his. You see his skeleton blinking for a second as you then fires over into his friend. Now your friend, you did the chain situation, so now he takes, if I remember correctly, he takes 2 damage additional. Let me see, where each additional unaffected by the creature, 2 spaces, additional target. Oh, it takes 2 lightning damage. Exactly. So his friend right next to him takes 2 lightning damage, but a passive on this lightning bolt that you have, if you see the lightning passive, says it deals 1 damage against targets in metal armor, and he is wearing metal armor. So that's 3 damage to him. So that's 5 damage to the main guy. And also, if you haven't realized, in DC20, the damage profiles are lower. So 5 damage in one blow with this is huge, and 3 damage to his friend as the lightning, the master has showcasing his skills. I love it. What a great turn. There's Peter.
You pumped your damage by 1, right? So I think it's 6 damage.
Oh, you're right. I did pump it by 1. Correct.
You're so right.
I did 3 AP into it. Yeah.
You did pump it by 1, and his exact hit points is 6 hit points, which was enough to take him out. Wow. Great job remembering there. Great job remembering there. So how does this look as you just absolutely level the lightning goes through him and then into his friend? I
think I hold the lightning on him while it jumps into his friend. And then I look over at his friend. And I just say, let the hate flow through you. And just as I just keep visible, I make his skeleton visible, and then he just sort of collapses.
Yeah. As the lightning flows through his friend, the hate is flowing through him now. I hate you! It's working. It's absolutely working. And now this guy, in one go, is just straight up done. That's crazy. So there's that, and 2 of y'all both went, showing both of y'all going higher and first and rolling the same. For the record, if y'all didn't have the same number, y'all just would have won initiative, and then it would have been a back and forth thing. But since y'all tied and won, created a very unique situation for this little advantage you guys got here. So with that, it's now going to be the bad guy's turn, and another behind the scenes situation. I get to choose which of these 2 I'm going to throw down, right? And you can, as the game master, you can choose that tactically for role play purposes, whatever makes the most sense. And in this case, I'm going to say, he's going next because you just killed his friend and the hate is flowing through him. So he's going to charge in over here. So what this guy looks like, he essentially is kind of like a fighter. I'm also trying to somewhat showcase that a little bit, but he's obviously just a bad guy NPC. So he's going to spend 1 action point to run over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's going to have to spend another action point to close the distance as he screams, running over, attacking the first person in front of him, as your shirt's still billowing in the wind from the remaining effects of the, I guess, lightning that flew overhead. So 2 action points just to get up to you. He's going to make an attack at you, and he's going to, with his axe, add the axe maneuver to add a damage and bleed effect to this. So another new thing in DC20 is called a dynamic attack save. So I am going to be making an attack roll against your defense, right? But I said that I'm adding on a bleeding effect. So you are going to make a save. You're going to make a physical save, which is might or agility, whichever's higher. So choose whichever one of the two is higher between might and agility save. You roll that and you're competing against this attack save. So here we go. His attack save's coming in, or his attack at you is coming in with a 16.
So I rolled a physical dice for some reason because I just got so caught up.
Go for it. Yeah, let's go. What is it?
I rolled a 21.
Okay, there we go. Nice. So
I didn't even think about it. It's just like, oh, I got my dice.
Yeah. Oh, I'm right here with you. So here's how this works, though. I have a 16 to attack. What is your defense?
That's 14.
So I do hit you, right? I do make contact. And that's the interesting thing here is I rolled a 16 to hit you. Your defense, I did hit, but you succeeded on the save. So the effect, the bleeding effect condition, you do not suffer the bleeding effect condition. You're fine as far as that goes, but bang, the axe does slice into you, cuts your shirt just a little bit. It cuts the shoulder of the shirt and it kind of flops down. So now it's almost like a toga you got on, exposing even more chest hair. So there is the first attack. You take only, and that just exactly hits you. So that's only 2 points of damage coming from him coming in at you with this axe. And that's all of his turn. Two action points to run to you, attack you with one, add the bleed effect for another, and that's all the damage. That's his turn. And now it's back over to you guys' side on Christian. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just go, why does this always resort to violence? And I will enter into a rage.
Nice. Spending a stamina point and an action point. Yep.
And then with that, I will make a reckless attack. As I'm just bereft by the fact that I have to attack. So I will get advantage on attacks, and then I will make a power attack on this guy in front of me.
Gotcha.
So
make an attack check, add advantage because you're going reckless, and it's one more damage than it normally would be.
And I gave you a D6 for guidance.
Ooh, that's right.
So that's it.
That's right.
This is a D20 plus a D. Let's see here.
So yeah, 2 D20s.
So 2 D20s plus a D6.
Yep.
Plus a D4 because of
bless.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Cleric coming in. I know who I'm targeting next.
That is the high roll on the D20 was a 17. 17 plus 4 is 21, and a 21 plus my attack roll is that gets me up to a 25.
25, right? So another real quick little timeout thing to point out. So with 25, usually attack rolls, and you're used to what you're playing from D&D, is as long as you hit, you hit. It doesn't really matter if you hit. It's a yes or no type thing, unless you crit, I guess. But these rolls, as you're seeing, y'all are building up and even combining in teamwork ways, as the cleric is showing, for you to get a 25 again. Now, this guy's physical defense is 15, so you're not going to get another extra 1 compared to the 10 from earlier. But so physical defense of 15 is a hit. And so what's your base damage on your weapon? I believe it's 3.
3, yes.
3. So that's 3 damage for hitting on a 15. But you got 20 and 25, which makes that's a brutal hit. So that's 5 points of damage. But you have a heavy weapon, and heavy weapons have the impact property where if you get a heavy hit, these big numbers, if you get a heavy hit, you deal an additional point of damage. So that's 6 points of damage. And I believe you spent an action point.
He power attacked, yeah.
With a power attack for 7 points of damage. Y'all are just a haymaker in these things. With the extra help to also showcase, this is also Eddie's, this teamwork thing that y'all have going on here. The bless and the guidance all adding into this moment so that y'all can both do these crazy lightning move and this crazy big hit. And 7 points of damage plus the extra 3, he had 10 health. and you again exactly kill the 10 health fighter with the 3 lightning damage left over because he's wearing metal armor, and the 7 here. So how does it look, Fabio? What is it? What do you do? You just cut your shirt and you're throwing down?
I don't even think I'm going to, like, cinematically, I don't think I'm going to use the pick. I'm just going to be like, no, I have to use the pick because, it makes more sense. But I just
whatever you want to describe.
What? Yeah, it's like, why does this always come down to violence? And I just pick up the pick and I just slam it down on his head, and his head isn't there anymore.
There we go.
Like a single tear rolling down my cheek. As
why does that have to be violence? The reluctant barbarian destroyer. I love it. So now he also has fallen, and the one remaining combatant now goes back over to me. Her final stand here. She's scrambling. Now keep in mind, she earlier off her turn, while she's hiding in the shadows, spent 2 of her action points to do this whole lightning counter, the DC20 version of counterspell, which is spell duels, right? And so now she only has 2 action points. So another thing, Peter, not only did your lightning do some crazy stuff, but you also ate up 2 of her action points by overcoming that as well. So she only has 2 action points here, and she's just going to stand there and singly by herself cast a lightning bolt across the 2 of you guys, mainly targeting Eddie here with this light, like this beacon of light guiding all of you through battle, shining through everything you're doing, is going to come in and do a similar lightning bolt that Peter just did. So it's coming in with this is 13. So that's going to be a 17 to hit you, Eddie.
That's a hit.
Hit you, Eddie. And then this is actually going to be, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Peter, you're within range for this too. So a 17 against your physical defense. And Eddie, that's a normal hit.
Yeah, normal hit.
Normal hit. And Peter, what's your defense?
It's 13, so it's just barely a normal hit.
Okay, nice. So if it was an 18, that would have been a heavy hit, and you would have taken another point of damage, but you do not. But Eddie, are you wearing some metal armor there?
I am.
Okay, cool. So Eddie takes 4, but not 5 points of damage from that, and Peter just takes 4 points. No, sorry, 3. So 3 goes to 4. So Eddie, you take 4, and Peter, you take 3 points of damage. As she shoots this lightning across, breathing heavily, looking at her 2 allies down and dusted, as you guys all hear a screech. That's my best. That's my conservative approach of a screech here to not mess with you guys. So you hear a screech as this massive vampire bat emerges from the edge of the cave and leaps over to her, engulfing her in one huge bite, swallowing her whole. And that's where we'll end this combat showcase.
Oh, very nice.
No, she was so beautiful.
No, the true beauty. We know who the true beauty of this combat was, with the chest hair billowing. But that's where we'll end the combat showcase. I do have a whole thing for this guy, but with all the different stuff going on and the explanation of rules, it went a little bit longer. But there you go.
Well, this was an absolute blast. I think this did a great job of just kind of like teasing what sort of things you can expect for the DC20 system. When does the Kickstarter launch for this?
June 1st of this year. Yeah.
So if you want to learn more about the DC20 system, be sure to follow the Dungeon Coach. He can be found on all the major social media and of course like YouTube.
For sure.
That's kind of the main thing. And what's your website? Because you've been releasing lots of other supplements. Where can those be found at?
So thedungeoncoach.com as the main center of everything. Tons, like dozens, actually probably hundreds of 5e supplements before all this shift over to this DC20 stuff. And then of course DC20, it's in alpha now, but it's fully available to play like we're doing right now. And it helps get us to the Kickstarter. And then the Kickstarter is going to be the whole shebang, 15 classes, all this stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Well,
thanks for having me, guys.
Oh yeah. No, this was an absolute blast, man.
Oh yeah. You guys are awesome.
We'll have to go and play around more with the DC20 system. Maybe we'll do another, showcase of something like that when Kickstarter launches. So
we could pick up and fight the vampire bat. Who
Yeah,
knows?
heck
There
yeah.
we go. Perfect.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, that's all the time we have for today. But be sure to like and subscribe to Character Sheet. Follow us on the various social medias. Follow the Dungeon Coach on the various social medias, and like and subscribe him too. And until next time, thanks for watching.